Hey, how's it going, guys? Chris from Shorthead Brewing here. I'm hanging out at Yakima Valley Hops, and I'm going to show you how to use Spectrum. Spectrum is a liquid dry hopping agent that you can pitch during, in the beginning, or after fermentation, depending on what kind of flavor and aroma profiles you kind of are wanting to get from those hops. The main usage of Spectrum is obviously to save on beer loss, where 2% could mean barrels. It can save on storage, shipping, especially shipping, because 1,000 kilograms of Spectrum is equal to 8,000 kilograms of T90 pellets. So when you're using Spectrum, you want to break it down into about 10 times its weight in liquid. And there's numerous methods you can do this with, utilizing an Erlenmeyer and a stir bar, or for bigger setups you could do yeast brinks and stuff and rock it back and forth to your fermenters. For dosing rates, I would refer to yakimavalleyhops.com and go over the technical data sheet for Spectrum. Typically when I use Spectrum in my beers, I will use it after pitching the yeast. So I'll take my yeast jug, measure out my Spectrum in there, and then go back and forth. The same exact process is if you wanted to do day 2 of fermentation or the last third of fermentation. You definitely want to still catch a little bit of active fermentation to blow off all the oxygen. But that is just my point of view. You can dose this in a bright tank, and you can refer to like the technical data sheets to tell you how to safely do that as well. I like to use Spectrum pitched with the yeast because I'm looking more for the flavor profiles from what is coming from Spectrum versus the more aroma side. I mean, even using Spectrum, you don't want to go any more than 80% of your dry hop load of Spectrum. There's a lot of other things you're going to get out of those vegetal matter from the hops and things like that that you just can't get out of an extract. But I like to use it for flavor, and think it adds a huge load of flavor into the beers that I'm brewing without a lot of loss. And as I'm brewing on a small scale, loss is everything right now. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've already cleaned and sanitized an Erlenmeyer flask, and then I'm gonna take my sanitized scissors and sanitized pack of Spectrum, cut that corner off, and then squeeze it into here. It's pretty thick. And like I said, we need to break this down in about 10 times the amount of fluid. All right. So I'm gonna take that Spectrum and get some beer from the fermenter and try to swirl that around to get that Spectrum to break down. This is why you definitely want to have some active fermentation to try to take up that oxygen. And so we will dump it in the top of our fermenter. Now you can see there's still some stuck in there. It just takes a few times to really break it down. So you kind of let the wort stream kind of hit it and get it to break into solution, and then just swirl. Another thing you can do is let it sit on a stir plate with a stir bar, and then when you go to pitch it in your fermenter, you just have a magnet to keep the stir bar in the Erlenmeyer. One more turn and we'll have it. And there you have it. The earlier you pitch Spectrum, the more fruity flavors you're gonna get out of it. Maybe like from biofermentation or something like that. The later you dose it, you're going to get more of the grassy flavors and aromas out of those hop varieties. One thing to keep in mind when using Spectrum is it is quite concentrated, and you're going to want to dip your toe in the pool before jumping straight in. So if you overdose it, it can be perceivable on your palate. I'd recommend starting at looking at what you want to replace and doing about 20% of that. I've found my rates that I like to stay in is about 0.6 grams per liter in my beers, and that's pitching early or within the first few days of fermentation. Spectrum is going to stick to the yeast cells, so if you do get a perceivable hop burn or some type of thing on your palate, it's most likely going to fall out with the yeast, as the resins will coat their cells and fall out. Repitching with Spectrum is safe. I've been doing it for over a year and have had no issues. Yeah, that's all I can think of. Don't put it on ice cream. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for checking out how I use Spectrum. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Yakima Valley Hops, and happy brewing.